Don't know if you can see, but my t-shirt has Justin Bieber on it. There we go. Hi, my name is Garoyd the Great. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be speaking about my favourite show of all time, RuPaul's Drag Race. Basically, the whole reason I'm deciding to make this video is because I've just finished watching every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race and RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, and I've got some thoughts that I feel like I need to share and some opinions I would like to voice, so be sure to stick around and find out what they are. Basically, I became aware of RuPaul's Drag Race back in like 2011, 2012 when I came across the show on one of the random channels like E4 or 4 Music late at night, and I watched a few minutes of it and just didn't know what to make of it. I was just kind of weirded out, I guess. I was just weirded out by drag in general because like this is back when I was like still in the closet. Basically, I just tried to avoid stuff that were like super duper gay because I was trying to like hide who I was, and I didn't really want to make myself too obvious that I was gay, but like I guess in a lot of ways it kind of was obvious, but still, you know, I was trying to be discreet. I didn't want to watch anything like that, and I was kind of weirded out by drag because to me it just seems so freakish, I guess. I don't even like to use that term, but like, yeah, it was just kind of different, and I didn't think it was my cup of tea, so yeah, I just avoided it and never really paid much attention to it. Then the years go by, and in 2018 I remember flicking through YouTube, and one of the videos that came up in my recommendations was the cast of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 3 performing Kitty Girl. I don't know what persuaded me to actually go and watch this, but yeah, I go ahead and I click on it and I view it, and I'm kind of taken aback by how fun it was, like watching this performance. It's just so elaborate and camp. As much as I enjoyed watching this fabulous Kitty Girl performance, I still just didn't feel comfortable enough to go and delve into drag a bit more, so I just moved on and kind of forgot about it until 2019 when I eventually decided to come out as gay. And yeah, I finally felt ready at the age of 25 to spring out of the closet, and that I did, and basically I decided to make a little public announcement on my Facebook and Instagram page on the 30th of June, which was the end of Pride Month, and I thought I was so unique in what I was doing, and then I realised Lil Nas X did the same thing, wee bastard, but you know, I forgive him. I still love him. After coming out, I began to make more friends with other gay people, and one thing I always noticed when I was hanging out with these gay friends is they would always be talking about Drag Race and saying what kind of queens I loved and making references to the show, and I began to think, maybe I was being a bit hasty about Drag Race, maybe I should try and give it another go. And this is around summertime, so yeah, RuPaul's Drag Race UK had just been announced. So following the hype, I decided to watch the Meet the Queen special, which is like a preview before the actual season starts, where they give a run through of each of the queens being featured and lets the fans know a bit more about them and who's going to be on it and what kind of like drag they're bringing to the show. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. I remember the queens being quite funny, but yeah, I still wasn't too sure about the show. And then the show premiered and I tried to watch it, and it was entertaining, but something was just missing for me. I just didn't feel comfortable with drag as of that moment, and I didn't know what it was, but yeah, I watched a few episodes of Drag Race UK and give up halfway through, and then watched the finale, and that was about it. And yeah, after that I was just kind of thinking, maybe Drag Race just isn't for me. Like I'm glad that other people enjoy it so much, but I'm not sure if I could enjoy it, and wasn't really thinking I would ever try it again until the trailer drops for season 12 of the American version of the show, and lo and behold, my queen Nicki Minaj is featured as a guest judge on it, and I'm like, okay, I will watch this because I'm a barb through and through. You know, look at this jacket. Come on, mate. I've pretty much wore this everywhere I've went on my travels, you know, yeah. How could you not love this woman? So Nicki Minaj is the guest judge on the season 12 premiere, and when she's on the show she sure makes her mark, because let's face it, Nicki Minaj is a drag queen. Like, the wigs, the outfits, she's got that confidence in her personality, but also that attitude that you need from like a badass drag queen. And yeah, of course she was a perfect fit to be a guest judge on the show. She got on that runway, did her cover girl entrance, which no one ever does except RuPaul. Yeah, I thought that was pretty legendary. Have a girl, put the bass in your walk, head to toe, let your whole body talk. And I thought it was so funny when she's trying to like, you know, get off the stage in time for RuPaul, and she's just like stuck there. But that episode was so much fun, and I really got to appreciate drag because some of the outfits these queens were putting were just so gorgeous. And not that the ones on Drag Race UK weren't pretty, but they weren't at the level that the American queens were bringing. Yeah, so I continued to watch the season as it progressed, and yeah, and then lockdown happened, and basically everyone was just indoors watching TV for a while. And after season 12 ended, I'm like, maybe I should go back and actually watch some more of this Drag Race show, because I really enjoyed this season, so maybe I'll enjoy the previous seasons. Yeah, I begin a mission to watch every episode of Drag Race and Drag Race All-Stars from this point on. That was around May 2020 when I started, and it is now December 2021. So about a year and a half of watching this fabulous show, and I finally completed it. And I've loved every second of it. It's just such an entertaining show, and it's got a lot of heart too. Like, when you think of other reality competition shows like The Voice, or perhaps Strictly Come Dancing, Dancing with the Stars if you're in America, yeah. On these shows, the contestants or the participants are expected to have like one major talent, which would be either like singing or dancing. But on RuPaul's Drag Race, you're kind of expected to have it all. Like, you're meant to turn out looks, you're meant to be funny and do improv, and you're meant to do singing challenges, rapping challenges, reading people for filth, you know. And let's not forget the biggest thing of all, lip syncing for your life. Like, you need to bring the moves, you gotta bring like stage presence. There's just so much things you need to have to succeed on this show. And also, most importantly, you need the personality, like, because those confessionals like really do make the show when you get to see from the drag queen's perspective, like what they're thinking and what their ideas are and what their thoughts are on the show. It just really like elevates it so much. Yeah, like this show just really ticks all the boxes, and I can't say how much I love it enough. I'm really glad I went on this journey to the start and watched every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, because when you see how it started back in season 1 with like such a smaller budget compared to what it is now and the phenomenon it is now, you really begin to appreciate how far things have come, not just for the show, but like what it's done for like the community as a whole. Because like, thinking of a show like Drag Race like about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, like it just wouldn't have been possible. If it wasn't for trailblazers in this amazing community, we wouldn't be where we are today. Like, even just me as a gay person, like if it wasn't for the people who paved the way for all of us in the community back then to get to where we are now, like I just can't think of what our life would be like if it wasn't for them. When you hear about the queens talking about their struggles on the show, like it really does remind you that there's still a fight to be fought, and yeah, there's still so many people who aren't accepted for who they are and can't live the life that they want. The show has just been so inspiring by helping people all around the world, and it's just amazing to see. Long may it continue. Now that I've watched all 500 million episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race, I think it's time to go through some of my favourite moments from the show. So, to kick things off, let's go through my favourite seasons. In no particular order, my favourite 5 seasons would have to be Season 5, All Stars 2, which is basically Season 5 2.0, Season 10, Season 6, and finally Season 2. These seasons are just so entertaining. Like, Season 5 just had so many magical moments. I really loved the Relaska Talks drama and, you know, Jinx Monsoon.
Relaska Talks and Jinx. This is my worst nightmare come true.
The rivalry between Coco Montrese and Alyssa Edwards, it was just fabulous.
What the fuck?
Oh, Alyssa Edwards again.
Here she goes. Coco was the one backstabbing me behind my back.
Alyssa and I will have our moment later together.
If she doesn't go home first. Game on, bitch.
There were so many amazing queens on this season in particular, and I can easily see why it's a fan favourite. Going on from Season 5, we have All Stars 2.
What? Face crack of the millennium.
All Stars 2 is definitely a highlight. It's probably the best season of all. Perhaps. No, I do kind of like Season 5. I like all these seasons, but Season 5 and All Stars 2 are probably my 2 favourites. Just saying. We did have the return of Relaska Talks, which caused a bit of controversy, and we also had the return of Coco Montrese and Alyssa Edwards. Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous that the majority of this cast are all from Season 5, because All Stars was meant to be like a mixture of queens from different seasons, but yeah, it was still pretty fabulous nonetheless. Katya did so well in All Stars 2, and you know, really paved the way for herself. I truly loved the redo Roji performance. It's definitely one of the highlights of the whole show, and yeah, like the challenges were just crazy.
Darling, bang bang!
Mama, we're zombies.
You want a room service? No,
Motherfucker.
This is really, really fantastic.
It was nice to see Alaska get her moment too, because on Season 5 she did so well, but All Stars 2 she was like next level. So another season that I have picked as one of my favourites has to be Season 6. Now, I did enjoy Season 6, and would it be my favourite season? I don't think so, but like it's definitely one of my favourites. One of the reasons that I liked it so much was because the cast just made it. Like, there were so many fabulous queens in this particular season that really stand out to me still to this day. Of course, Bianca Del Rio. Everyone seems to love Bianca Del Rio.
You know what I gotta say to y'all is that I will show you versatility when Santino wins a sewing competition and Visage wears turtleneck. You hear me?
She's just so bitchy, but you know, funny. And yeah, I loved like the relationship that blossomed between Bianca and Trinity K. Bonet. They started off on not so good terms, but they eventually grew to like, you know, care for each other like true friends do. And yeah, it was just really nice to see. I really loved Adore Delano in this season too, and in All Stars 2 when Adore left, that was kind of shocking, you know, because I really wasn't expecting it, but you could just tell that Adore's heart was not in it. Another of my favourite seasons has to be Season 10, because yeah, there was just so much that went on in this particular season that really like stands out to me.
Miss Vanjie. Miss Vanjie.
Vanjie was your safe word?
Miss Vanjie.
There was just so much trade as well. Like the vixen, like honestly, just the vixen is hot. Okay. But also on this season we have, you know, Monet Exchange, Monique Hart, Eureka. I think Eureka was just amazing on this, and Aquaria was a fantastic winner, but Eureka really made the season for me. I know there are people who might think differently, but you know, Eureka's just so funny and talented. It's hard not to love her. so much happened in this season, and it truly was just so entertaining. It definitely has to be one of my favorites.
What about me? Snap out of it, girl.
Last but not least, we have season 2, and this is one of like the very early seasons, which was still on a smaller budget compared to what Drag Race is now, but compared to season 1, things definitely had changed, and we had the proper pink workroom, and it really felt like this was the beginning of what we have now as the RuPaul's Drag Race format. World of Wonder, you really stepped your pussies up here, and congratulations, you did a fabulous job. Like, we lost the Vaseline filter that was on season 1, and yeah, things really were beginning to improve. Not that season 1 wasn't amazing, but in season 1 the show was kind of finding its feet, and although it was still finding its feet in season 2, it just felt a bit more grounded. There was drama in the season with, you know, Raven and Tatiana.
Tatiana is about face value. So f you, Tatiana.
You too, bitch. Let me put it out there real quick.
And even Shangela getting evicted on like the first episode.
You have only just begun. We haven't seen the last of you yet. Now sashay away.
Thank you all.
And of course we had legends like Jujubee on the show, who's gone on to do so many fabulous things, like All Stars 1 and All Stars 5 and the brand new Queen of the Universe, which is just amazing. I'm just bragging because I worked on that and got to meet Jujubee, and it was just incredible. That's all I could say.
Get my gist.
Do you understand?
But yeah, season 2 definitely has to be one of my favourites because it really was like the stepping stone for what RuPaul's Drag Race has become today. Yeah, it needs to get more credit. So, my favourite queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, that is a tough question because there's just so many fabulous queens on the show, and yeah, when I try and think of who I love the most, it's a really hard thing to do because I love so many of them in so many different ways. But if I have to pick 5, I guess I would have to say Alaska, Katya, Shangela, Eureka, and last but not least, Jujubee. I'm not just saying that because I met Jujubee. Not to brag again, but you know, it did happen. But yeah, I really do feel like these are my favourite queens because they all represent something different, but they also, you know, are just so fabulous as drag performers. Their personalities just shine through, and it's why I love them so much. Like Shangela with the hallelujah.
Hallelujah, I'm back, Rue. Yes, hallelujah.
And we've also got Alaska, who's just all kinds of eccentric, and there's Jujubee, who's just so hilarious.
Girl, I know I'm gorgeous. You don't need to tell me anything, Miss Thing.
And Katya is just ridiculous AF.
Hello, my name is Katya Zamolchkova.
It's hard to say 5 because 5 is just a small number. You know, there's been so many fabulous queens on the show, so if I was to also do like an honorable mentions, I would have to include Latrice Royale.
Get those nuts away from my face!
Like Silky alone has to be one of my favourites just because of the lip sync assassins she slayed at in All Star 6. Her humour is just so innovative, and I really loved the performance of Barbie Girl when she was like pretending to be both Barbie and Ken. It was just ridiculous, but I loved it so much.
Imagination, life is your creation.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
This brings me on to my top 5 lip syncs on the show, and that Barbie Girl one from Silky definitely is one of them. But 4 others, I would have to say Brooklyn Heights and Evie Oddly doing Sorry Not Sorry by Demi Lovato. That was crazy. They just put out all the stunts in this one, and yeah, it really was a spectacle.
But now, baby, I'm so happy.
Soleil.
Another of my favourites has to be Jinx Monsoon lip syncing against Detox, and that weird ass song that was just like yodeling or whatever. It was just so funny. Honestly, it has to be one of my favourite moments of the whole show. Another of my favourites has to be Pound the Alarm. It's just so gag-worthy, like when Monet Exchange pretends to do like a death drop, but then she stops, like, because who in their right mind wants to do a death drop? Like, it just looks so deadly, and like there's no chance I would do it, so I would be very much like her. I would guess the ultimate lip sync that I really do love has to be the performance of Kitty Girl. Like, that whole performance is the best moment of RuPaul's Drag Race. So on All Stars 3, Kennedy Davenport, Bibi Zane, O'Hara, Trixie Mattel and Shangela, they do a group performance of RuPaul's song Kitty Girl, where they also have their own like individual verses, and like this was the performance I mentioned watching back in like 2018 and just like enjoying it, but like skipping past it, like never delving more into Drag Race after that. But you know, since then I've gone back and watched it, and I don't know if it was because that was the first time I like properly watched anything to do with Drag Race, but yeah, to me it still stands as the best moment of RuPaul's Drag Race, because the performance is just so camp, and you know, the judges are involved and there's all these dancers and it's behind the scenes and it goes on the stage, and yeah, like the choreography, the verses, the song the song alone, like honestly there's just so much that I love about this, and yeah, Kitty Girl is definitely my favourite moment from Drag Race. But let's not forget, we wouldn't have Drag Race if it wasn't for one person in particular, the legend that is RuPaul. Honestly, like, I can't say how much I love RuPaul enough, because my favourite moment on every episode has to be the CoverGirl runway entrance. Like, when I hear that music, honestly, it just like, it just gets so excited for what look Ru's about to bring to the show. Honestly, RuPaul turns out some of the best looks on the whole show compared to the other contestants, and I know like Ru does have a team, but still, like, to be slaying it like this at 61 is just so commendable. There's just so many moments with Ru that are highlights on the show, and I love like the intros Ru does, like LaGuardia, Newark, Kennedy Davenport. I find that so ridiculous. The laugh, especially like that one time when Utica was explaining about their drug use to RuPaul, and they were kind of like suggesting they'd done a bit of like, you know, stuff but not saying it, and RuPaul was loving it. It was just ridiculous.
Ever smoked weed before? Oh my God.
Ru laughed like that so much on the podcast he did with Michelle, What's the Tea, and I love listening to that. I'm so sad it's not being done anymore, but yeah, like, if you haven't already, go check that out, because they talk about some of the daftest shit ever, and it's just hilarious. RuPaul is just iconic and legendary, and I can't think of enough words to describe RuPaul, but they are everything, you know. Like, if you go and watch some of like the RuPaul show from the 90s with the skits with RuPaul and Michelle, like, you watch it and you're like, I can see where they got the inspiration to make all these daft, like, you know, maxi challenge skits.
In a world gripped with fear and crime, a ruthless cosmetics queen holds a city hostage, and only one woman can free her town from oppression.
You looking for an ass-whooping sucker?
RuPaul is star beauty in Take That, You Honky Bitch.
RuPaul and Michelle also talked about like their lives on the podcast, and like how they became where they are today. And when you hear RuPaul's story of like how he got into drag and the whole process of becoming the supermodel of the world and where he is now, like, it's just incredible, and there really should be a documentary about it. I would love to make a documentary about it, but I just need people to help me. I would do it all myself if I could get permission, but yeah, like, people need to be reminded, especially like the younger kids, like they need to like know more about RuPaul's story, and like I want to know more about RuPaul's story, and yeah, like there really should be something to celebrate the legacy, but hopefully someone else is working on it if it's not me, but you know, I want to do it, like that's one of my main goals in life. Actually, one of my main goals in life is to like see Ru in drag. Like, I know Ru does not do drag outside of the show and probably never will, but honestly it would just be, you know, one of my bucket list things to see Ru in drag. Hopefully I get to work on this show one day, but who knows. So yeah, that's my thoughts on RuPaul's Drag Race. Thank you for watching this video. I would love to get to hear other people's opinions, like who their favourite queens are, what their favourite seasons are, favourite lip syncs and all that jazz. So yeah, if there's anyone watching this video, please comment below and share your thoughts, because I really want to know. Like, it really intrigues me what everyone's opinion is. Again, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again, and bye. If you knew that reference, then you're a true fan.